Yes, hello, and welcome back to B&B's Football Happy Hour. I am Bobby, as always, joined by my man Brian.
What's going on? Glad to be back for episode 36 here, our pre-Christmas episode. So everybody, happy holidays, I guess, if we don't post anything on our Facebook page. So hopefully you'll listen and have a good Christmas.
Absolutely, and it is the Fantasy Championship week. Hopefully
Mm,
for most of you out there. I know some people still do Fantasy Championships in week 17, but that doesn't make any sense. So if that's your
no.
league, do what you can to stop that from happening because you roll with your stars all the way through the season, and then you got Patrick Mahomes, and he doesn't play week 17, so
Yeah.
you are screwed in your championship week. So make sure that doesn't happen. This should be everyone's championship weeks, and good luck with that.
Yeah, I am in, let's see, I guess I had about 6 teams. I'm in my work league semifinal. I guess we had a new commissioner take over. I don't want to mention any names in case he's listening, but uh, he needs to change the settings, like you mentioned. I guess he didn't send out those settings for approval, and we have a semifinal week this week. So I will be
Mm,
stuck with the week 17 conundrum if I
mm.
get that far, and then that's on our work league, ESPN league, and then my Yahoo. One of my Yahoo leagues, I'm in the championship with a pretty tough matchup, but I'll hopefully figure it out. I'm off this week, so I'll do a lot of studying and hope I get the right draw this week and the right guys in there.
All right, well, I wish you good luck as well. And before we get rolling here any farther, as always, our beats are provided by Dunson,
Hmm.
and our show is here with courtesy of Diaper Dust, the products you need if you have a kid in diapers or know someone who does. Very simple. You take this product, you sprinkle it right in the diaper, in that soiled diaper, wrap it up, throw it away anywhere you want to. It does not smell. So www.thediaperdust.com, also on Facebook and Instagram, all over the place. Thediaperdust.com.
Yep, check it out. It's getting close to Christmas, so everybody with the kids get them some diaper drops. I think I saw don't they have some free samples or something like that, or some samples, so maybe you can sample it before you buy it, and if you like it, buy a couple bottles of it and use it every time you change that diaper.
All right, man. And big shout out to, we talked about championships, the two teams in the B&B's Football Happy Hour in the league. The teams that are playing in the championship are the 1 and 2 seeds,
Yeah.
and they've been riding high most, if not all, of the season. Our number 1 seed, Dackless Behavior, is Bailey Coons, and she, I think, has been in first place basically since the start of the league. I think week
Hmm.
3 or 4, she hopped in first place, and she's been there since then. And Jersey Turnpike, and that's our guy Mikey Moore. He's been up there top 2 or 3 for most of the season as well. So good luck to them in the championship game. Actually, I don't really care. It's not me, so whatever.
Yeah. Good
But
luck.
no, seriously, awesome season for both of those teams, and good luck. Kill it this week.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. That's one of the leagues I didn't make the playoffs in, so I've been not following that one too close. But I did see Bailey and Mikey got into the final, so good to see the two, I guess, best teams that have been kind of up at the top all year make it to the final. Um, so yeah, I think we should do it. I guess whoever wins, I guess will get the automatic bid for next year because I don't know. We'll talk about how we're going to do that. I don't know how we're going to do it. We kind of did it first come first serve, I guess this year, but
Yep.
Bailey or Mikey wins, I think, kind of like the Masters, they should be exempt into the league next year. And obviously, even though we kind of stunk it up this year, we both get a spot. So there'll be 3 spots taken up. So somehow we'll figure out how to get the 9 other people in there, or maybe we'll expand it if we have a ton of interest. But I guess we'll figure that out down the line. So yeah, good luck to those guys, and we'll get their address too. I know we're going to try to send out some kind of like a championship ring or a little trophy. So whoever wins, I guess DM or we'll DM somebody and get an address, and we'll send it out to you as soon as we can. Maybe sometime in January, because I know shipping is kind of backed up right now. So maybe we'll wait a couple weeks to get that sent
Yeah.
out.
We'll shoot for spring break.
You'll get it before next fantasy season.
All right, you ready to get rolling with this game this
Uh,
week
yeah,
recap?
yeah. Let's get it on.
All right. Let's dial it back all the way to Thursday evening, where the Chargers took on the Las Vegas Raiders. And it's a nice little overtime game to start the week. Chargers beating the Raiders 30-27. Justin Herbert went for 314 yards passing and 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Nice to see him perform well again after a couple down weeks. Austin Eckler, 60 rushing yards, but only 4 catches for 19. You expect a lot more out of him. And Kalen Ballage stole a goal line touchdown, so you never want to see that. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were both hurt. You knew that going in, so you probably had to play them if they were active, which they were, but I think each of them only played like maybe 20 couple snaps, and they basically did nothing. Hunter Henry did well again, 5 for 65 and a touchdown, and double-digit points in 5 of his last 6 games. Jalen Guyton, 4 for 91, and Tyron Johnson, 3 for 61 and a touchdown. They ended up being the lead dogs with, as we mentioned, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams hurt. For the Raiders, they dropped to 7-7, and they are watching their playoff hopes dwindle. Marcus Mariota came in this one pretty early on. Derek Carr suffered an injury, and Mariota played pretty well. 226 passing yards, a touchdown, and interception. He also had 88 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. More importantly, he actually played with some emotion. I thought at times he was dead in Tennessee, but he was fired up during this one and threw some beautiful passes, especially his touchdown pass to Darren Waller it was very nice. Josh Jacobs was incredibly inefficient, 26 totes for only 76 yards. He did find the end zone, though, plus 3 catches for 36. And as we talked about Darren Waller, he continued to be the second best tight end in the game and best player on his team. 9 catches, 150 yards, and that touchdown. But that was basically all she wrote for the passing game.
Yeah, this was a good game. Like you said, started the week off with an overtime winner for the Chargers, who haven't won many this year. So they're on the list of teams that are winning that probably shouldn't be winning, but
they're all doing it. So
yeah, they're all doing it, so they might as well. They started it off, so a few other teams did it as well. But yeah, man, our boy Herbert had a good game. He looked pretty good this week, man. He makes some good throws. I watched pretty much all this game, and man, when he steps into some of them throws, man, this guy's he's got all the tools, and he just looks like, he's going to be good for years to come. So hopefully he can avoid the big injuries and stay out there, and they can surround him with maybe a little bit better of an offensive line. That he has some weapons out there, obviously, but I think they need to protect him a little bit better. And as far as the Raiders, like you said, 7-7, it's getting down to that crunch time this time of year, man. I think their playoff hopes are pretty much toast at this point. I think they're done.
They're not looking great. I mean, they just got beat by a 4-win team at the time, now 5-win team.
Yeah, this was a game they definitely needed to win if they thought they were going to sneak into one of those wild card games. Because, I was looking at the AFC, and that's a kind of a jumble down there with some good teams with some good records. So I guess we'll touch on that when we get down to some of those teams. But, yeah, Herbert, man, I think he's locked up the Rookie of the Year. I know Jefferson, he's been stepping it up lately, but I think Herbert's got that thing locked up. And
I don't know.
It's just tough, man. Just because of position-wise, I don't know. I could see either guy getting it, but I guess Herbert.
Yeah, but it's 2020.
Yeah, it's true.
Why not give it to a receiver?
If any year, why not this year?
Who the heck knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, you never know. And, man, I don't know. Good game to start the week off. And Raiders need some defense, man. I was watching this game, and, they just allowed the Chargers to walk up and down the field. I think the Chargers averaged 6.5 yards a play. That's not going to win you any games. And I think Herbert was even out 2 offensive linemen this week. And I guess Keenan Allen was on some kind of like a snap count. He didn't really play a whole lot. So,
he might not play much this coming week either.
Yeah, so that kind of stinks talking about fantasy playoffs, and he's a guy you've had in your lineup all year, obviously, with the targets that he gets. And he was kind of out there when they wanted to put him out there. So that's a tough spot. I had him in one league. I had to take him out, obviously. He only got like 2-point-something points. So not a big week. So glad I kind of benched him. But I don't know. The one bright spot for the Raiders is Darren Waller. If you have him, you're probably winning most of your games. So good for you if you have Mr. Waller.
It's quite the advantage to have a tight end like that. Mm-hmm. So this week we were blessed with some Saturday football. One of those games being the Buffalo Bills trampled the Denver Broncos 48-19, led by an awesome effort by Josh Allen. Oh, gosh, he looked so good. Mm-hmm. And the Bills also had 534 total yards. And you mentioned the Chargers averaging 6.2 yards a play.
Yeah.
Well, the Buffalo Bills averaged 8.2 yards per play. Josh Allen went 359, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 33 rushing yards with not one but 2 rushing scores. Monster fantasy day for Mr. Allen. If you start him, you most likely advance in the playoffs, so good for you. Zach Moss had the most carries, 13 for 81, but Devin Singletary got the touchdown on 8 for 68. And we talked a few times about how great of an addition Stephon Diggs has been to this offense, and he shows once again that, I mean, good grief. Way to go, Bills, for going out and getting your guy. 11 catches, 147 yards, and our man, Cole Beasley, goes for 112 yards on 8 grabs. Dawson Knox and Jake Kumro got the touchdowns. Thanks, fellas. That did nothing for us. Mm-hmm. Broncos, Drew Lock was basically the opposite of Josh Allen. He only threw for 132 yards and a touchdown. He did have 37 yards rushing, though, so I guess that helps someone somewhere maybe. Yeah. Melvin Gordon had a very nice day, 11 carries, 61 yards, 2 rushing scores. And when there are only 132 passing yards, there isn't much the receivers can do. But the tight end Noah Fant did go 8 for 68 and a touchdown, which is his first touchdown since week 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was another good game for the Bills. They clinched the AFC East for the first time in 25 years. So good for them. Good for their Bills fans, and good for the Mafia. Oh, yeah. Our guy Fred, who came on, I'm sure he's pumped.
Some of the best fans of football.
Yeah, I saw them. I guess it was them. The Bills coming off the plane and at 2 or 3 in the morning or something like that, and they had fans out there at the airport lined up 10 deep and cheering on their guys. So yeah, man, they're a passionate fan base, and what a game for Josh Allen.
No social distancing going on there.
No, freezing cold weather and then people on top of each other. So. I guess they forgot about COVID for a couple of hours, but it's all good.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, you need something to get excited about. So, hey, the people love their football up there, man, in Buffalo. So, but Josh Allen, like you said, man, he started the year off hot and he's ended the year hot. So, I mean, if you have him on fantasy wise, I mean, he's definitely been doing good for you the last couple of weeks. And like we said, Diggs, man, I think we need to run a poll. What was the best off-season trade? Was it Diggs to Buffalo or DeAndre Hopkins to the Cardinals? Because, I mean, they're both killing it. But
Diggs.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I might be leaning Diggs. So I don't know. Maybe I can see this one being 50-50, but I don't know. I want to see how people vote on that. But
Diggs has completely transformed the offense.
That's true.
I mean, last year the Bills were not throwing the ball like they are now. They were not this potent. Mm-hmm. And Josh Allen was, I mean, honestly not this good. And Stephon Diggs completely changes everything the defenses has to do when they play them. And I know Hopkins, obviously, you got to account for him every single play with at least 1, if not 2 defenders. But I don't think Hopkins has the impact on his offense that Stephon Diggs has had on the Bills offense.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, if I had to vote, we're going to put it up there. So I'm going to vote. I'll probably vote Diggs. But I mean, just touching on the Broncos real quick, not a whole lot to say for them. Drew Lock, like we talk about every week, just not really that great at football. I think I don't know. I think his time might be up in Denver. I know John Elway likes to pull the plug on those guys pretty early, so he could probably be getting replaced, I would think, pretty soon. And Noah Fant's really the only bright spot on that team, but with that quarterback play, he's not really going to excel and put up the stats like your Kelsey or your Waller or some of those other guys. So I think, like we said, I think I said it before, Noah Fant, he's one of those guys. I think he's got a lot of skill, but he might be better on his second team or whatever. I don't know if he goes sign somewhere else in free agency that actually has a decent quarterback. I think he'll turn into a really good tight end. But I think right now he's just kind of handcuffed with what he's got at quarterback there. So,
well, speaking of Elway and quarterbacks, Adam Schefter posted something that was music to my ears when he said that Carson Wentz came out and was like, look, I am not here to be a backup. If I'm not going to be the starter in Philly, I want out. And there's only reason he would say that is if he's worried about not being that starter anymore. And he hopefully is not going to be. So, hey, John Elway, why don't you give old Howie Roseman a call?
Yeah, pick up the phone, Johnny, because, I mean, I'm sure, look, Carson Wentz, on the field, he's just not doing it. I mean, off the field, I mean, that's probably his agent saying that. I mean, I don't think Carson Wentz would ever say something like that.
I don't either. But
definitely his agent. But, yeah, they got to put it out there. I mean, they don't want him, I don't know, sitting around and, I don't know, I guess being a backup. He needs a new turn a new page. So yeah, Denver could be a team, and we'll see. But they need to figure something out. But yeah, man, as far as real football wise, the Bills are tough, and I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs coming up here. So they look pretty hot right now.
Yep. Next on the docket, the Packers won against the Carolina Panthers 24-16. And I think the Teddy Bridgewater experiment may be over in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He was 258 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, and 26 yards rushing with a touchdown on the ground. But he doesn't throw for many yards, even with 2 legitimate NFL caliber number 1 wide receivers. I think Rob Anderson improved that earlier this year. And he has good pass-catching backs, whether it's McCaffrey or Mike Davis. But he hasn't thrown for 3 touchdowns in a game at all this year, and he's gotten 0 touchdown passes in a game 4 different times. Mike Davis. Yeah, right. Mike Davis only had 59 yards rushing. DJ Moore went off 6 for 131, but that was it. Robbie Anderson only got 2 for 21, and Curtis Samuel was 4 for 42. Packers are cruising as a number 1 seed in the NFC right now, even with a down day from Aaron Rodgers. Only 143 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Yikes. Tough if you were rolling with him in your fantasy playoffs. Now, he did get a rushing score and 26 yards on the ground, which helped you still, but that was not what you were expecting. Aaron Jones had a nice day, 20 carries, $145 and a touchdown. And obviously, Rodgers' down day affected Devontae Adams. Again, he came up short for you in the playoffs if you were rolling with him, 7 for 42. Allen Lazard led all the receivers with 56 yards receiving on 5 catches, and Robert Tonyan only 3 for 18, but he did have a touchdown.
Yeah, this was a game, to me, like you said, I mean, I think the Packers were just cruising in this one because, I mean, they win by 8, but to me, they had, I mean, I guess in the second half, I mean, it got kind of tight, I guess, in the second half. The Panthers started playing a little bit better defensively, but to me, it just seemed like Aaron Rodgers and those guys are, I mean, Aaron Rodgers especially was just out there kind of just, I don't know, it almost seemed like he was going through the motions in this one. I mean, and they kind of just wanted to run the
2
ball.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, they're cruising, man. I guess they got that number 1 seed, and I guess they're just cruising right now. But they're winning games; they can't beat that. But we're going to get mad at them because if you're starting Aaron Rodgers with a $143 and I guess a rushing and a passing touchdown, you would think he would throw for at least 275 against the Panthers. Maybe with a couple scores. And if you have Devontae, I mean, 7 for 42 is still going to get you 11 points, but you're used to getting in the 20s or 20s and 30s with him. So. It's a bad week. I think the only fantasy producer this week was Aaron Jones. Obviously, he got 20 carries for $145 and a touchdown. He looked good. But yeah, man, this is just kind of a weird game. Just the Packers just kind of cruising, and like you said, Bridgewater just not looking too hot. And I know he fumbled on the goal line there, trying to jump over the pile. He got the ball smacked away and whatnot. So I mean, that could have changed the game a little bit, but. I don't know, man. Packers just kind of mailing it in, it seems like. So they might need to let people know when they're going to do that so they don't be starting all these guys.
Well, their defense better buckle up their chin straps for this week because Derrick Henry is rolling in there. And if they don't buckle down here, he is going to literally throw dudes off of the field.
Yeah, that's
they better be ready.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just tough because, but just by watching the game, to me, that's what it looks like they're doing, and that's never really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you could beat the Panthers, but if they've been cruising for 2 weeks, I mean, is Derrick Henry going to go in here and just pound the ball for like 200 yards, and then you're going to be like, oh crap, what did we get ourselves into?
Yes,
that's what I mean. Yes. So I don't know if the Packers want to. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would have just liked to see them, and I don't know. Maybe it was just an off game for them. I don't know, but just by looking at it, it seemed like they were just uninterested in playing this game, and maybe they were looking ahead to that Titans game. But it's hard to flip that switch though at the end of the year like that. I would just like to see them put that foot on, on the gas pedal there and just keep hammering teams like they've been. And it just seems like they kind of went vanilla in this game, and I guess we'll see what happens in this Titans game because old Derek the train's coming through, so we'll see if they can stop him or not. But we'll see what happens.
There's a lot of emotion in this next game where the Texans fell to the Colts for the second time in 3 weeks, 27-20, and they lost 26-20. 2 weeks ago. And Deshaun Watson was 373, 2 touchdowns, plus 25 on the ground. He did his best, but it is tough with the lackluster receiving core. And to make matters worse, they lost on a last-minute fumble again. Kiki Kuti was stripped on like the 2-yard line, and the Colts recovered, ending any hope that Houston had. So, oh, man, I felt so bad. Watching that game was heartbreaking. David Johnson came out of nowhere, 11 catches. Yeah. Catches for 106 yards receiving. That's insane. Only 27 yards rushing, but he goes out there and grabs 11 balls for 106. Whatever. Brandon Cook 6 for 59. The aforementioned Kiki Kuti 5 for 53 and a touchdown. Chad Hansen also scored again, 2 catches for 55 for him. Now Phillip Rivers, he has not thrown a pick in 3 weeks and hasn't thrown 2 in a game since week 5. 228 and 2 touchdowns in this one. Jonathan Taylor, 83 and a touchdown, plus 4 catches, only 12 yards though. Unfortunately, Zach Pascal stole the show. 5 catches, 79 yards, and 2 both of Phillip Rivers' passing touchdowns. He couldn't give one of those to T.Y. Hilton. That would have been nice. He went 4 for 71. And after this week's 2 catches for 19 yards, Michael Pittman has now gone 4 straight weeks with no touchdowns and under 50 yards receiving. Not what you wanted after the hot start he had after coming back from injury.
Yeah, I was going to say he's kind of been disappointing the last couple of weeks. He turned it on for a few weeks there. You thought he was really breaking onto the scene, and he's been kind of held back the last couple of weeks. I don't know. Maybe he's just going through some rookie struggles. I don't know, but I'm sure he'll be all right. But yeah, like you said, man, Rivers is protecting the ball. I think that's the main thing. That's the main thing. That's probably why the Colts have 10 wins right now. I know we were both pretty high on the Colts earlier this year when we were talking to the young guy that came on and was talking about the Colts, right? It was
Eli.
Eli was the Colts fan. That's right. So I think we both predicted the Colts to win 10 games. So at least we came through on that one. As they're 10-4 right now, looking pretty good heading into the playoffs, it looks like. But yeah, the Texans, Deshaun Watson, man, I just feel bad for this dude. Like you said, 2 weeks ago, he fumbled right on like the 4-yard line there. And he was pretty bummed about that. I guess after the game, he was just kind of sitting on the bench. And then this week, Kiki Kuti with the fumble there at the end. So it's just tough. But, man, I don't know. I guess the Texans need to get him some more playmakers around him because, that receiving core is just always banged up. And I don't know. So this guy's in and out of that lineup.
Let me ask you real quick. What happens if neither of those fumbles happen and we're sitting here talking and the Colts, instead of being 10-4, are 8. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. You could very well just with those 2 games. I'm sure there's some other games on if you look through their schedule. There's a couple of plays right there that could have went their way. Yeah. That's tough, but I don't know. They found ways to win both of those games. They won the first one at home, and then this one was in Houston. So our boy Jonathan Taylor, too, looks pretty good coming down the stretch here. He only had 16 carries, but 83 yards and a touchdown, and they were getting him in the passing game a little bit. And, I'm excited to have him because he's been in my lineup. So I'm hoping he has another good week this week.
He'll be a second-round pick this coming year, 2021.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. He's and Nyheim Hines has kind of been dialing it back a little bit. He hasn't really been doing a whole lot. So I like to see them ride JT for like 25 carries this week if they could.
There you go. The Titans we talked about just a minute ago, they beat the poor Detroit Lions 46-25, and they put up at least 30 points in 5 straight games. Unfortunately for Detroit fans, the Lions have not. Stafford was back from injury. He went 252 and a touchdown. 7 guys had a carry in this one. DeAndre Swift predictably leading the way, 67 yards and 2 touchdowns, plus 4 for 15. Marvin Jones had himself a heck of a day, 10 catches for 112 and a touchdown. Fortunately, that was about it. TJ Hockenson only gathered 2 balls for 18 yards. Now, Titans, Ryan Tannehill, we talked about him being the 7th highest scoring quarterback in fantasy last week. Well, dude, he blew up this week. 273 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, plus 2 rushing touchdowns. Really upset about that. If he could have given at least one or maybe even both of those to Derrick Henry, I would have been much more pleased. However, King Henry continues to destroy any and all mortals placed before him. 147 yards and a touchdown. He was averaging over 6 yards a carry. I mean, just hand the ball off to him every play. You got a first down every 2 plays.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Davis bounced back, 4 catches, 110 and a touchdown. A.J. Brown didn't do a whole lot, 5 for 44, but he did find the end zone. Even Jonnu Smith showed up, catching 5 passes for 51. Now, as a side note, there were almost 900 yards of offense in this game. So if you're a big defensive fan, this one wasn't your cup of tea.
No, yeah, this was a pretty high scoring game, a lot of yards. Like you said, man, King Henry, another team that just falls victim to the freight train there. So I think he's got 1679, so he's about 320 yards away from 2000, which he could do. I mean, like we just talked about, they play the Packers this week, so
Packers not good to stop in the run, and neither are the Lions. He plays
really, yeah,
Houston.
I don't know.
Houston, I
think they're the worst in the league, aren't they? Against the run?
Yeah, they just played the Lions. So I think Houston's last.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, it's very possible for him to get 2,000. I wonder if he could garner some MVP votes. Maybe if you run for 2,000 yards, somebody's gonna vote for you. So
good call,
King Henry. I mean, how many guys have ran for 2,000 yards and not have won MVP?
I don't know. 7 guys have done it. King Henry would be the 8th.
Yeah, Chris Johnson, he ran for 2,000 yards and he didn't win in the MVP. But I don't know. I mean, he'll have to get some votes, I'm sure. So if he can get to that feat, but like they said, man, the Titans like to ride him at the end of the year, and they're doing it again. And Tannehill stole 2 touchdowns from King Henry. I mean, he still had 147 yards, but if you're in a semifinal last week and you lost by whatever, I mean, if you lost by 10 points or whatever, you're pretty bummed out that he didn't get those 2 touchdowns. He could have had even more of a monster day on top of that.
Darrington Evans had a receiving touchdown. So I'm sitting here watching this game, and I'm like, why is Henry not in? Why is Darrington Evans in?
Yeah, it was kind of weird the way they handled that goal line situation there. Like you said, Darrington Evans was in there, and Tannehill runs 2 in. They were using some play action in the zone reads in the red zone. So it's like maybe they were just trying to mix it up. But, man, I would just ride Henry. Like you said, if he gets – I mean, with those yards per carry that he averages, why would you not just hand it to him if you're inside the 10-yard line? Let him run it twice, and he's going to score. So there's I don't know. I mean, why throw it and risk a turnover or something like that? But
I hear you.
It's working for now, and man, Lions, it's not a whole lot. They're another team that's going to be picking in the top 10 this year, and Stafford does all he can do, man. He still, I guess, does his thing. He had his Matt Stafford days that he lights it up, but this week was kind of just an average week. And, I mean, Marvin Jones, if you're starting him on maybe a daily, I mean, he probably won you some money if you're picking him. I'm sure he wasn't too high of a salary there if you're playing him in DraftKings or something like that, but DeAndre Swift's probably the brightest spot on their team. I mean, he's going to be a force to reckon with. He's only a rookie too, so I mean, he'll be even better next year. He had, I think he scored 2 touchdowns, and I think he fumbled on the goal line. So I mean, he could almost had 3 touchdowns this game. So yeah, he's pretty much for me the lone bright spot, I guess, on that team for now as a young guy.
Yeah, I feel you, especially with Kenny Golladay out. So hopefully Kenny Golladay will come back from injury. And this is a contract year for Golladay, so it's going to be diced to see what goes on there.
Yeah, you're right.
Chicago Bears won again. They beat the Minnesota Vikings, and Arizona currently has a 7th playoff spot in the NFC. But with this win, Chicago takes a game lead over Minnesota as the next team up if Arizona falters. Now, Chicago won last week, and they won this past week. So if they win next week, that's called a winning streak.
Yeah.
And those words haven't been spoken much in the city of Chicago lately. Mr. Trubisky, 202 for a touchdown and a pick, plus 34 yards on the ground. Not much, but just enough. Now, David Montgomery had a career day. 32 carries, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a catch for 16. Allen Robinson, 4 for 83, and Darnell Mooney, 4 for 49 and a touchdown. The Vikings have now lost 2 straight, and they have to travel to the Saints this coming week. So good luck. Kirk Cousins, 271, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and 25 rushing yards. I think he's got like 60-some rushing yards in the last 2 weeks. Is that weird?
Yeah, I think it is.
Dalvin Cook, 132 yards on the ground and a touchdown, plus 5 catches for 27 yards. Justin Jefferson got his 8th 100-yard receiving day. with
Mm-hmm.
8 for 104, and no other receiver had more than 3 grabs. One of Thielen's was for a touchdown. So I guess if you start Adam Thielen, he saved you a little bit in the end zone, but not much.
Yeah, man, Thielen, all he does is catch touchdowns because he gets 2 catches for
Yep.
14 yards and a touchdown or 2 or something like that. Almost like this past month, he's been kind of scarce on the yards, but he does score some touchdowns. But and this one was pretty fun. I did see a video online of Jefferson. He ran a route, and I think Cousins overthrew him in the end zone, and you can hear him yelling something about I don't know, come on, Kurt, throw me the ball or something like that. You can hear him because there's no fans, so he's like,
Right.
he's screaming back at Kirk Cousins to throw him the ball. I guess he wanted to throw her a little bit earlier than he did, and Cousins sailed it over his head. And I don't know, that's pretty good for a rookie to be calling out old Kirk Cousins there. So keep him in check.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think like we talked about the Raiders, I think the Vikings playoff chances are kind of dwindling at this point.
Yeah. They'll need some help for sure.
Yeah, they needed to win this one. You never want to rely on all those other teams like that to get into the playoffs. You don't ever want to rely on, having 5 other teams lose and whatnot. You kind of want to always take care of your own business. And yeah, they lost this one, and I think they're dwindling there, especially with that game coming up this week. So it's going to be tough. And the Bears, I guess we talked about Trubisky a little bit. I know you had mentioned he's been killing it fantasy wise. He's been right out there at the top these last couple of weeks. Just finding ways to win. I guess he didn't have that great of a game this week. Only 202 yards, but he did scramble a few times.
Got it done.
Yeah, he got the win. And Montgomery, I don't know what's going on with him. He's been drinking.
I traded him away, and the second I did that, he's blown up.
He's been drinking some special Kool-Aid. He's been drinking that Space Jam, Michael Jordan Gatorade or whatever the heck it is. But
you're welcome, David Montgomery owners everywhere. When I got rid of him, he has been one of the best running backs in all of the NFL. So you're welcome, everyone.
Yeah, you saved his career because this dude this guy was an afterthought. I mean, we were talking about how he 2 months ago we were talking about he was you're not starting David Montgomery, this and that. Now this dude's ripping off 100-yard games every week now. 32 carries is pretty crazy. But Bears, finding a way to win, man. I don't know. We'll see. They might make it into the playoffs. We'll see what they do. Their defense is pretty decent at times, so we'll see what defense shows up, I guess, if they were to make it into the playoffs, but never know.
Yep. Well, Seattle Seahawks, they beat the Washington football team 2015, but it was not pretty. Mm-hmm. Russ Wilson, 121 yards passing. That's it. A touchdown and a pick, and 52 yards on the ground. Chris Carson had 63 yards rushing, while Carlos Hyde had 55. Most of those on one carry that went for a touchdown. DK Metcalf, only 5 for 43, and Tyler Lockett only got 4 for 34. After his 15-catch, 200-yard, 3-touchdown performance, Lockett he hasn't done hardly anything game in and game out. But for Washington, Dwayne Haskins was starting in place of Alex Smith, and I hope that he enjoyed it because he's probably never going to play again, possibly for anyone in the NFL. Not only is he bad at football, but he is not very intelligent. I'm just going to go out there and say he's flat out dumb. For those of you who don't know, Haskins was busted photographs of him in an adult club with no mask on, hanging out, having a good time after the game. So he can be fined. I forget how much money, but he can also be suspended for 4 games, which is a maximum penalty for being an idiot during COVID season. So we'll see. The Redskins say they're not going to cut him. I don't know why they wouldn't, but whatever. But anyway, he threw for 295, a touchdown, and 2 picks. He added 28 rushing yards. J.D. McKissick led the backfield 51 yards plus 9 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. Logan Thomas exploded with 13 grabs for 101 yards. I don't know what's going on with him, but he is an every week must start at tight end. And Terry McLaurin put up his 7 for 77 line.
Yeah, that's the old Terry McLaurin line right there. That's his deal.
That's it, man. That's it. Sometimes you get a touchdown, sometimes you don't, but you got 7 for 77.
We usually always get 7 for something. Yeah, 77. But yeah, man, Haskins. And I saw the report on this says the Redskins or the Washington football team are going to handle it internally, but I think Roger Goodell might have something to say about that. So we'll see what happens there for a team that's in I guess you could call it a divisional playoff race there of the NFC East. I mean, to have your starting quarterback do that, it's never good. And I
What are
think
you doing, dude?
this guy might be running his course in Washington, so we'll see. I mean, they
And
had
it's not
him.
like he's good. It's not like he's going to go somewhere and be a starter anywhere else. Like, this was
That's
your
what I
shot,
mean.
dude.
Yeah,
This was it.
yeah, that was tough. And old Russ, man, they win this game. They got the Rams coming up. We'll talk about the Rams in a little bit, but Seahawks play the Rams this week, so he's gonna have to play better this week. And Metcalf and Lockett, they're gonna have to get it going because they've been kind of quiet these past couple of weeks. And another team like the Seahawks just seem like they can't get it going. Maybe they're just going through a little funk right now, but I don't know. I mean, I know the Redskins got a pretty solid defensive line, and
They do.
they do. I mean, they're tough, but you should have more than 121 yards and 20 points if you're Russ. You know what I mean? So they got to get it figured out. And as far as the Redskins, like you said, Logan Thomas. I mean, this dude's been lighting it up the last couple of weeks. So yeah, if you have him, for sure you're starting him. So and he's probably a guy that. I mean, I don't think anybody really drafted Logan Thomas. He was a waiver wire guy, I guess, back earlier in the year. But yeah, what a tight end he's turned out to be. I know he used to be a college quarterback at Virginia Tech. So what a turnaround for him. That's pretty good stuff, man.
Now, the next one, the Patriots lost to the Miami Dolphins. And the biggest takeaway from Miami beating New England is that this will be the first time since like 2008 that we will not see the Patriots in the playoffs. Wow, That is incredible. Cam Newton was his normal inefficient passing self, 206 yards and no touchdowns, and only 38 rushing yards. Sony Michel was in for Damian Harris and played well, getting 10 carries for 74 yards. And Cam Newton actually realized that James White was alive and breathing and part of his team. And so James White had 4 catches for 52 yards, but outside of Jacoby Myers, 7 for 111, it was crickets in the receiving game. Now, Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa, he gets a big win here, but he certainly didn't earn it with his arm. It's tough to get outdueled by Cam Newton, but it happened. Only 145 yards passing with no touchdowns and a pick for Tua. He did have 2 rushing scores, though. Salvon Ahmed returned to his leading role in the backfield after Myles Gaskin was injured, didn't play. And Salvon had 23 carries for 122 yards and a touchdown. And I feel like Miami has had like 7 different lead running backs this year, and not a single receiver got double-digit PPR points. So let me ask you, I feel like Miami started the year with what we thought would be 2 running backs, right? We had Matt Breida and Jordan Howard, yep. So now Howard is gone. He's on Philly now. And Breida, he did okay this game with a couple carries, but they have 2 legitimate running backs in Gaskin and Ahmed. What are they going to do next year? Keep one, keep them both for cheap, get rid of Breida.
Yeah,
I mean, these guys came out of nowhere. No one saw this coming. Miami didn't even see it coming. They went out and signed 2 guys.
Yeah, I would think. Well, they obviously already got rid of Howard, so he's the Eagles' problem now. I think he's on the practice squad or something like that. But
he was active last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago he was active. I don't know about this week. I mean, it doesn't matter, but he's not the Dolphins' problem anymore. But yeah, I guess if I were them, I don't know. I mean, depending on how much money Matt Breida's making, I guess I would probably cut him and keep Ahmed and Gaskin. I guess roll with those 2 young guys that aren't really making a whole lot of cash. You know what I mean? So maybe they can go out and sign another free agent playmaker somewhere else. But stuff came for Tua. I mean, look, he didn't. The numbers obviously don't wow you at all. I mean, they win by 10 here. But I mean, he had Devontae Parker, Gesicki, Preston Williams, Jakeem Grant. All those guys are out. So it was tough. And I mean, even Stephon Gilmore gets hurt in this game. So you would think somebody could get open, but that still really didn't happen. But I don't know. I guess we'll just chalk this one up as an ugly win for the Dolphins, who always seem to kind of win these weird games like this. And Cam, I mean, as far as the Patriots, like you said, the first time since 2008, they're not going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that one, but they've had their fair share of winning, so they can sit out a year. But I think they're ready to turn the page on Cam Newton. I don't know if he'll get another job somewhere else. I'm sure he will, but I think he's definitely out of New England, so that could be another maybe Carson Wentz landing spot, maybe, possibly. Never
Probably
know.
the greatest quarterback of all time once he goes there.
Could turn into Tom Brady 2.0 or something like that, so who knows. But, man, I don't know, man. Dolphins, they're still in the playoff race. They keep winning. So, to me, this Tua deal, it kind of seems like, man, to me, just as of right now, it just looks like when Tim Tebow was playing for the Broncos and he was winning some games. I mean, Tua is better obviously than Tim Tebow, but it just
Right.
feels like that to me. Like he doesn't do a whole lot. He looks like, he's a left-handed quarterback. He can run a little bit, but they keep winning games. You know what I'm saying? Guys like him and whatnot, but he obviously has more skill than Tebow, I guess it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll be a lot better next year and the years following, but I still don't think he's
Yeah,
a franchise quarterback.
He'll have to progress, obviously, but I mean, this doesn't hurt his confidence. I mean, obviously he can stay out there. He hasn't gotten injured yet. I mean, I know he had some injury problems at Alabama, so he hasn't gotten hurt yet. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx him or anything, but he can get out there. He can take some hits, and they're winning games. So I mean, maybe in the off season, he's got to progress and get with those receivers and get something figured out for next year. But I think he's that kind of guy that'll work hard. He seems like he's that type of kid. So hopefully he figures it out. But I mean, they could be making a little playoff run here. We'll see, but depends on the matchup. But I mean, I could see them maybe winning a game because that defense is pretty good. With that secondary is pretty tight. So I guess it all depends on the draw. But I can see them maybe spoiling somebody's playoff hopes there in the AFC and maybe winning a game. So we'll see what happens.
Now, I doubt Jaguars fans have ever been as excited to get stomped by the Ravens as they were this past week. However, congratulations, Jaguar fans. You are now in the lead for Trevor Lawrence. I'll give you a nice little round of applause here. And that has to be exciting for them. Our friend of the show, Kevin, told me earlier today, actually, that he said the mayor or somebody from Jacksonville sent a thank you letter to the Jets organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, I love it. Gardner Minshew played pretty well. He only threw 7 incompletions against that Ravens defense. Pretty good. To go along with 226 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. James Robinson only 35 yards rushing, but did have 3 for 18 and a receiving touchdown. 10 guys caught a pass for the Jaguars. Chark led the way. DJ Chark had 4 for 53, and Laviska Shenault had 5 for 43. The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 243 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and a pick, plus 35 on the ground with a rushing touchdown. J.K. Dobbins has taken full grasp of this backfield. He ran for 64 yards and a touchdown. Marquise Brown actually had a decent day. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 for 98, and Mark Andrews had 5 for 66 and found the end zone. And don't look now, but old man Dez Bryant caught a touchdown, as did Miles Boykin.
Yeah, Dez was throwing up the X. I saw for the first time since 2017. So
probably since the last time the Patriots missed the playoffs.
Yeah, it's probably since 2008. But man, yeah, Ravens. I mean, not much to say on the Jags besides they lost and have garnered now the first pick of the draft. So they can
addition by subtraction, buddy.
They can kind of tank their way over these last couple of weeks and end up with Trevor Lawrence unless he decides to do something crazy and stay at Clemson or something like that. But I don't think he will. As far as the Ravens, yeah, like you said, I mean, not a whole lot. Lamar Jackson, I mean, 243. He did have 3 touchdowns, but definitely not lighting it up like he was last year. I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know. Hey, like I said earlier, it's hard to if he's holding back a little bit. You know what I mean? It's hard to just flip that switch come playoff time if he thinks he's going to just turn into MVP Lamar all of a sudden. But Dobbins does look good, and Marquise Brown kind of. This was probably his biggest game of the year, I would imagine. I mean, besides, I don't know, maybe he's caught a couple long touchdowns, I guess. But I mean, as far as a complete game, 6 for 98 is probably one of the best stat lines he's had all year. And ever since we've kind of criticized Mark Andrews a while back, he's been kind of finding the end zone and doing his thing now again, like he was last year. So I don't know what to think.
We make things happen.
Yeah.
One way or another.
We talk about guys and all of a sudden they start making us eat our words. So whatever, but it's good for them. And, Andrews has some skill, man, but they just weren't, I don't know. It just seemed like Lamar wasn't really targeting him at all. And now he's kind of looking his way a little bit more, but I don't know what to think about the Ravens, man. They have some good games. Obviously this game wasn't that. I mean, it's not really.
They're not in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, it's not a good measuring stick, obviously. You score 40 points on the Jags, but, a lot of teams in the NFL could do that. But, yeah, like you said, I mean, look, this playoff race now, I was looking at it earlier. I mean, the way it stands right now, I got it pulled up right here. You got Tennessee at 10-4. They're in the 4 seed. Cleveland's in the 5 seed at 10-4. Indianapolis Colts, 10-4 in the 6 seed. Miami, 9-5, and Baltimore's sitting down there in the A spot at 9-5.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at a team that could win 11 games that's not going to make the playoffs. I mean, look, if the Browns were to lose, now the Browns play the Jets and the Steelers. So if they go 11-5 and Baltimore beats the Giants and Bengals and go 11-5, Baltimore's in the playoffs and the Browns are out because the Ravens beat them on that Monday night game. So the Browns could be 11-5 and miss the playoffs. So that'll be pretty wild. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen, but
yeah, no kidding. I'd like to see the Browns in the playoffs, even if they don't do anything. I'd like to see them make it.
It's going to be a tough race. I mean, look, those 4 teams, they're all within a game. And look, like I said, you got Cleveland's got at the Jets and then the Steelers who aren't playing good.
Miami will screw it up.
Yeah, Miami's got at Las Vegas and then Buffalo. So they're probably looking like they're probably below one of those games, obviously, or both. And then Baltimore's got home against Giants, home against Bengals. So, I mean, they look like they're going to win both of those. So, I don't know, man. That Week 17 matchup, man, that's going to be good right there. If Cleveland can go out there and beat the Jets, and then Week 17, that could be for the AF. That could be for the division. That game.
So wait a minute. Let's say the Steelers lose again.
Yeah.
And then the Browns beat them Week 17.
Yeah, they might be out. I don't know.
The Steelers could end up out. Maybe. Do the Ravens?
It depends. Yeah, who's won those games earlier in the year? I mean, who?
We'll have to talk about it next week because
Yeah,
we
we'll have to
don't
read it
know
next
enough now. Yeah.
We don't know enough now, but I mean, look, there's going to be
that'll be a dream. The Patriots and the Steelers out of the playoffs.
But one of those teams, I mean, dude, one of those teams with 11 wins is going to miss the playoff. Or I mean,
possibly
10 or 11 wins is going to miss the playoffs. Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Well, one team that doesn't have to worry about the playoffs, the Atlanta Falcons, gave yet another game away to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay won 31-27, even though they were down 17-0 at halftime. Brady went 3 for 90, 2 touchdowns. Leonard Fournette starting in place of the injured or the COVID Ronald Jones, 49 yards rushing, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 3 catches for 16. Mike Evans had 6 for 110. Antonio Brown scored on 5 for 93, and Chris Godwin also scored only 4 for 36 for him. Matt Ryan, 356, 3 and no picks. That's a nice stat line for him, but there was 0 running game at all. Calvin Ridley led the way for the Julio-less Falcons, 10 catches, 163 and a touchdown. Russell Gage also had a touchdown, 5 for 68. And your boy Hayden Hurst, he scored a touchdown as well.
Every couple of weeks.
I hate him.
Yeah.
Man, I hate him so much.
Man, it's tough. Look, it's funny you say that because, man, as far as fantasy-wise, I hate Hayden Hurst, but it's a strong word. And then I saw a video of him, man, and he, I'll have to post it on the page. He, battled depression and, almost committed suicide, and it's this whole story. I mean, it's a good story of how he kind of found football. So this dude was he was a minor league baseball player.
Right.
And then he got hurt and, had some struggles and went through some depression and tried to end his life and whatnot. So I was like, man, I can't not like this guy now. He's battled through all this stuff and I don't know. So yeah, fantasy wise, I don't like him, but as a person, I've gained some respect for him. I do like that story, but man, as far as this game goes, the Buccaneers probably are they're the worst first half team, I think, in the league. I mean, every week it seems like in the first half, these dudes are getting their butts kicked. I mean, I think they had 60 yards, I think, at halftime, total offense. It was terrible. And then Brady just kind of turns it on, man, and ends up with almost 400 yards passing. And
it's the Falcons.
It's the Falcons who blow another game. Weren't they up 17 something? They were up 17-0. So there's another game, and it's probably the fifth or sixth
17
game.
points something. I don't know.
Yeah, at one point.
17-point lead for sure.
Yeah, at one point they're up by 17 points, I saw, and it was the fifth or sixth time or something like that this year that they've been up by 17 or more and have lost a game. So I don't know. Ridiculous. I guess good for the Bucs for winning, but I don't know. I wouldn't be I don't know. I wouldn't be too worried about playing them come playoff time because I don't know if they can – I don't know. Those playoff games are always tight like that, and if you're giving up leads to, to good teams, I don't know if Brady's going to be able to turn that thing around, but he is Tom Brady. So I guess it'll be fun to watch. But, man, I just don't know. They just need to figure out how to play 4 quarters, and I think they might be all right. But, as far as the Falcons, like you said, man, they just can't run the ball. I don't know. I guess Todd Gurley might have passed away. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. They just can't do anything, man. And Calvin Ridley's the only bright spot. Julio never wants to play. So it's just I mean,
For the record, folks, we're pretty sure Todd Gurley's still alive.
he's alive, but I mean, they might need to give him some. He might need some air because he hasn't done a whole lot. But I don't know. It's tough. I wouldn't want to be a Falcons fan, man, because they find ways to blow some games for sure.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one. Now, it wasn't a solid mid-90s 49ers Cowboys game, but it also wasn't the worst game to watch. The 49ers did lose to Dallas 33-41. Nick Mullins, 219 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Again, Mullins with the turnovers. He's hurt, though, so I don't even know who's going to be the 49ers quarterback. They just signed Josh Rosen off of the practice squad of Buccaneers, so maybe he's going to get some playing time. C.J. Beathard was there, came in relief. Didn't do too bad. Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson split work again. Mostert is now on IR, I just saw, so he's done for the year. Each getting 60-couple yards, with Wilson finding pay dirt. Brandon Ayuk, beast, had another great game, 9 for 73 and a touchdown. Kendrick Bourne also played well in Deebo Samuel's absence, getting 4 for 86 and a touchdown. Jordan Reed also scored, but only 2 catches for 18 yards. Cowboys, Andy Dalton wasn't great, but he did get it done, 209, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, unlike so many other backups we've seen this year, thrust in the starting gig. He actually crushed it, 69 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns to go along with 6 catches for 63. Good for you, Tony Pollard. CeeDee Lamb led the receiving corps, 5 for 85, and had a kick return for a touchdown on a botched onside kick attempt by San Francisco. Amari Cooper only ended up with 2 for 10, while Dalton Schultz only went 2 for 18, but at least he found the end zone. Now, the 49ers won in almost every offensive category, but they just couldn't put enough points on the board.
Yeah, this was a high-scoring game, and, I mean, didn't mean a whole lot. Cowboys are on that list of teams that are winning games and only hurting their draft position, I think. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess you want to win games, but like you said, Tony Pollard, I mean, look, this guy looks pretty solid. I mean, he looked like he has some spunk, and man, sometimes when you're watching these games with Zeke, when he was in there, he just looks – we're talking about a guy who looks uninterested in playing. I mean, I would just hold Zeke out probably for the rest of the year and just let
He got that money. He's done.
Yeah, he did. He is for sure. I mean, he has no interest in, on a bad Cowboys team of out there risking, an injury or whatnot. He got paid, and he makes the same money every week, whether he sits on the sideline or runs 25 times. So I think he'll take the latter there. So I don't know, man. I'd roll with Pollard for the rest of the year. Obviously he had a hell of a game this week, and they play the Eagles coming up. So, he could have another, decent game. Eagles defense don't really scare anybody. So you never know. And like you said, 49ers side, you don't know who's going to be playing quarterback. I guess they're going to roll with Beathard. I don't know if you could start Josh Rosen after just signing him on a Tuesday. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I've seen weird things, but I guess that could happen. But Brandon Ayuk, to me, man, he's probably one of the – I don't know. I guess Jefferson's obviously the best rookie receiver so far, but Ayuk's probably 2, man, in my book.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably 2.
Sure.
He's probably 2. I mean, if CeeDee Lamb might have been up there, but he was doing some stuff with Dak, and then once he got hurt, he's been kind of back to the not really producing a whole lot with old Andy Dalton there. But yeah, I don't know. Like you said, not a classic Cowboys 49ers matchup like back in the day with Steve Young and Troy Aikman and all those guys. But
right.
I guess if you're a fan, it was a fun game to watch, and man, I don't know. And like Jeff Wilson too. Look, Raheem Mostert. This dude's got skill, but I think he gets hurt every week, doesn't he? He literally gets hurt every week.
Him and Deebo Samuel. Yep.
So I guess if you got Jeff Wilson, I mean, Jeff Wilson scores the touchdowns anyway. So I guess if you're looking for a flex player, yeah, I forget who the 49ers are playing this week, but I'd roll with.
It doesn't matter. They're going to run the ball no matter what. So
I'd roll with Jeff Wilson for sure, 100%.
Sure.
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right, so our Eagles fell to Arizona, but we got to see again that Jalen Hurts is, hopefully, the future of this organization. 338 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he had another 63 yards on the ground in a rushing score. Now, Miles Sanders did not ball out like we hoped after a great game against New Orleans, but he did get 64 yards rushing and added a catch for 26. Hurts spread the ball around, so no receiver compiled any stats at all, really.
Mhm.
But I think that's probably what we should expect going forward. Anyway, for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray had his first 400-yard performance of the year and his first rushing touchdown in 5 weeks. 406, 3 passing touchdowns, a pick, and then 29 yards on the ground with that rushing score. I said Chase Edmonds outcarried Kenyon Drake by 1, but outgained him 47-26. And Edmonds also had a receiving score. DeAndre Hopkins ate well against a very depleted Eagles secondary with 9 for 169 and a touchdown. But that was basically it outside of a Larry Fitz touchdown.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting. I mean, obviously, as an Eagles fan, I watched this one. I guess at this point, I don't know. I mean, I like to see Hurts playing well, and I hope he can continue playing well. I mean, he looks like he has all the skills, man. I mean, he threw for 338. He can run the ball for sure. I mean, look, I think the Eagles probably should have won this game. I mean, they left 2 points on the board. I mean, look, they missed an extra point. Doug Peterson loves going for 2, and earlier in the game he goes for 2. They don't get it, so they should have had 28. That 26 should have been a 28, and then at the end of the game, Dallas Goedert drops a touchdown that Jalen Hurts dropped in there that an NFL tight end should probably make. It was a tough catch, contested catch with the safety kind of draped over top of him, but it looked like he caught it, and then as he came to the ground, it hit the ground and whatnot. So, but hey,
it's a shame too. There's over 900 yards of offense, and the Eagles, who didn't have a turnover, couldn't bring home a win after they forced 3 turnovers from Arizona.
And that's the thing too. I thought the Eagles defense hung in there with the injuries they have in the secondary. I mean, they're rolling out there with guys from the practice squad in the secondary besides Jalen Mills, who's nobody's favorite, secondary guy. This guy, he likes to the quarterback will throw the ball 10 yards over top of a receiver's head, and he'll start flexing at the sideline like he did something. But
with green hair,
the Green Goblin or whatever he calls himself. But yeah, I mean, look, Murray, and this is a tough game for me, man, because I got Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and they're playing the Eagles, so I obviously love that matchup. But like, I'm torn watching the game. Like, I'm cheering for the Eagles, and I'm like calculating in my head. I was like, that touchdown at the end of the game to DeAndre Hopkins won me my fantasy matchup this week, so I'll take it. Eagles lose the game, so they kind of keep that draft, that 6th, 7th pick or whatever they're at, and Hurts looks good, so I'll take that. I don't know, man. I hope he can continue to do that, because that'll be quite a story, because he's a guy that he was 25-2 at Alabama. Gets benched in the national championship game for Tua, who leads them to a national championship. The following year, he comes back in and replaces Tua, wins the SEC. Then he goes to Oklahoma and obviously does his thing, Heisman runner-up. So it'd be kind of weird.
Maybe Peterson knew all along Wentz stunk, and that's why he got hurt.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing, man. You never know. But Miles Sanders, I thought he might have had a little bit of a better day, 64 yards. I do like 17 carries, though. I mean, I think
Cowboys are coming up, though, so he should have a monster game.
Yeah, I think he should have 100 yards this week, hopefully, maybe total. But so I found a good stat for you. So so Jalen Hurts this week had 401 total yards, so 338 passing, 63 rushing. It's more yards than Carson Wentz has had in a single game in his entire career. So there you go, right there. So I don't like kicking guys when they're down, but
yes, you do.
Hurts at this point seems like he might be able to do it there. He beat Carson Wentz's best game he's ever had in his career in his second game. So we'll see.
Love that.
If he can keep it up. But, man, I don't know. I just hope he and to me, he gets Jalen Reagor in the game a little bit more. I mean, Carson Wentz would throw Jalen Reagor maybe 1 or 2 deep passes a game. Jalen Hurts seems like he uses him more of a he's targeting Jalen Reagor more, so I mean that only helps. I mean, because he needs some confidence, and he needs to get going, because he was a first round pick, and he needs to pan out. So see what happens moving forward.
Well, in the shock of the week, the Jets, for some unknown reason, beat the Rams, who were a 17-point favorite. They won 23-20, and I'm sure this ruined quite a few survivor pools out there. Sam Darnold was 207 and a touchdown. Frank Gore, 59 yards on the ground with a score. Jameson Crowder, 6 for 66, and Ty Johnson caught the touchdown, and that was it. It is amazing how you can win an NFL game with those types of stats. The Rams, Jared Goff, 209, 2 and a pick. Cam Akers, only 63 yards rushing. Robert Woods, 6 catches, 56 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, only 5 for 39. Tyler Higbee had a nice day, 4 for 67 and a touchdown. But I don't really know what to say about the Rams after this one. And honestly, the worst part about this is Greg Williams, who got fired for making the best call of any defensive coordinator all football season, to keep the Jets winless so that they can still get Trevor Lawrence. Now that whole decision is all for naught, and he got fired, for no reason now because they are not going to get Trevor Lawrence anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I just don't know I don't know how the Rams let the Jets go to your home field and beat you by 3 points, when they're 0-13. I just don't know what to say about the Rams, man. I don't know who I'm more disappointed in. I mean, obviously the Rams, look, I mean, they've been playing good all year. That defense has been, I don't know, maybe they just kind of were sleeping during this game because –
Must have been.
I don't know, man. And Jared Goff, to me, I don't know. He's just, an elite quarterback in this league doesn't let that happen. I don't know. They just don't let that loss happen. And I just don't understand. And, I mean, I'm equally disappointed in the Jets, too, that they can't even get tanking right. They can't even get tanking right. So, it's tough. But I guess they're going to miss out on Lawrence. We'll see what happens. But by maybe some divine miracle, they might get the first pick somehow again. But
come on, Jags.
I got no idea.
Up.
Yeah, the Jags could be next, man. They could go out there and win a game or two or something like that, and you never know. But I guess you're not going to get Lawrence, but I guess you're going to get I guess they're going to get Justin Fields probably now from Ohio State, which is a completely different quarterback. And I guess we'll see. I guess that's not that bad of a consolation prize, but couldn't even get not winning right, man. And this is like a game they should have lost by like 40 points, man. You said that they were the double digit pick
favorites
to lose, but pick to lose. And I think I read this week too. So yeah, the Rams were favored by 17 over the Jets, and then the Steelers were favored by like 15 over the Bengals. And this is the first time since 1973 that two teams have won on the same weekend as underdogs of more than 14 points. So
there you go.
If you were somehow betting some money on the Bengals and Jets, you could have won, if you put $100 down, you're probably winning like $8,000 on doing that. But I'm sure you can find other ways to spend $100. But I don't know, man.
Dwayne Haskins did.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Dwayne, look, at least wear a mask so people don't know. If you're going to being in one of those places isn't the worst place you could be wearing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should probably wear a mask in there anyway.
Regardless.
Not even in COVID season, but
all right. Moving on.
Put the mask on, Dwayne.
Two teams that won't be fighting for the top draft spot. The Chiefs took down the Saints 32-29. Patty Mahomes, 254 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and 37 rushing yards. CEH had a decent day, 79 yards on the ground, but he was hurt and is probably going to be out. Le'Veon Bell came in for 62 yards of his own and a touchdown. Travis Kelce led the way in receiving, 8 for 68 and a touch. Tyreek Hill also scored on 6 for 53. The Saints, Drew Brees looked very out of sorts in his first game back from injury, completing less than 50% of his passes. He did have 3 touchdowns, though, on 234 yards and a pick. Alvin Kamara only 54 yards on the ground, but added a receiving touchdown and 3 for 40. Emmanuel Sanders led a Michael Thomas-less receiving corps, 4 for 76, and that was about it for receivers. Dude, but I will say the Chiefs ran 92 plays. They had 34 first downs, and the time of possession was 41 minutes to 19. That is absurd. How they only win by 3?
That's what I'm saying. How do you do that and then only win by 3 points? So that's
92 plays. That's
crazy. That's some college stuff right there. That's some that's some.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, man, CEH tough. He had a good game going, and then it looked like he got hurt pretty bad there. He couldn't put any weight on his leg, and he was kind of they had to carry him to the locker room. So I don't know, man. Maybe Le'Veon Bell might be rolling as the only guy there now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be a solid start. If you had CEH, you got Le'Veon Bell.
You might as well pick him right up. Yeah, plug him in. And that's tough, man. Sean Payton had a tough decision, man, because I don't think Drew Brees probably shouldn't have been playing this game. I think if it was anybody besides the Chiefs, he probably would have been sitting out. I think if it was I don't know if he was playing like a divisional game or something like that. I think any other game, maybe probably besides the Chiefs, I think he sits out. And I guess he probably told Peyton he was good to go. But even after the game, they asked him if he was 100%, and he kind of chuckled and said no. So,
Yeah.
He was 0 for 6. I mean, he started the game 0 for 6. When's the last time Drew Brees has started a game 0 for 6?
Never.
Probably never. So I don't know. He just didn't look right, like you said. I mean, at halftime, he was like 5 for 16 or something like that for like 85 yards and a pick. So I don't know. It was a tough thing. I don't know how, if you're Sean Payton and Drew Brees comes to you and says, I'm good to go, I'm going to play. And
There you go. He's out there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You just have to roll with him. So I'm not going to – maybe Drew Brees maybe should have put his pride aside a little bit maybe and just kind of, let Taysom Hill roll out there. But, I mean, obviously they didn't win anyway, so it's a tough deal. But I guess Brees is probably a little bit sore. I mean, dude, that guy broke like every rib in his body, so I'm sure he's probably – if he wasn't 100%, I mean, he's probably still, man, trying to heal up, and he's even more sore, I guess, probably heading into this week. But I don't know. Chiefs find ways to win every week, and yeah, Mahomes does his thing, and Tyreek and Kelsey and those guys, man, they're going to be tough to beat. And I just don't know who's going to be able to beat them this year. I think they might be heading back to another Super Bowl possibly.
Surprisingly, another team that's tough to beat are the Cleveland Browns. We talked about earlier. They took care of the New York Giants, and the Browns look far better than they did earlier in the year. They won their 10th game of the season, and I'm happy for Cleveland fans. They deserve some type of I don't know, to at least smile every now and then. Baker Mayfield, 297, 2 touchdowns, only had 5 incompletions. Impressive. Nick Chubb, he was inefficient with his carries, but he did find the end zone and 50 yards rushing. Rashard Higgins, 4 for 76. Jarvis Landry, 7 for 61 and a touchdown. And Austin Hooper got in on the action, 5 for 41 and a touchdown. For the Giants, outside of Darius Slayton going 4 for 74, there's literally nothing to say. And, I mean, they didn't even score a touchdown. So, there you go.
Yeah, Browns, like you said, they look pretty good right now. I mean, they got a good defense, obviously with Myles Garrett there, and they're playing pretty good. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, look, he had a rough patch here earlier in this year, but I don't know. He seems like he's got that swagger going, and he seems like he's playing pretty good. And it's a good time of year to have him, doing his thing and, out there with his swagger. And he's kind of like I don't know, man. He's like a confidence guy. Like he needs to, I don't know. He feeds off of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? He looks like Oklahoma Baker Mayfield out there right now. So good for them. Chubb didn't really do a whole lot for me in my fantasy. He had 50 yards. He did salvage my week with that touchdown there, but he didn't do a whole lot. I guess the Giants kind of had him bottled up, man. I was waiting for him to break a long run, and he just didn't do it this week. But Giants are tough. Yeah, like you said, there's just not a whole lot to say. And I think they tried to get creative in this game, obviously, if you watched it. They tried a fake field goal, I think, on the opening drive, and then they went for it on 4th down in the red zone on another trip.
I mean, you got nothing to lose. You might as well.
Yeah, they were going for it. Joe Judge was going for it. And what was it? Jason Garrett was out with COVID, so you had ex-Browns coach Freddie Kitchens calling the plays. So I think Baker was sticking it to him a little bit, I think, too. Yeah, Baker likes that kind of stuff. I think that stuff gets him going. So, he needs to find things to get him up for games, and I think that was obviously one of them. And they're going to be a tough team to beat, I think. Look, I hope – man, like we talked about earlier, I hope they don't win 11 games and somehow miss the playoffs. But this is their first time winning 10 games since 2007.
If it's going to happen to anyone, it's going to be the Browns.
That's what I mean. So I don't want to jinx them. I don't want to talk it into existence. I want to see them in the playoffs. So,
me too.
We'll see. But – hopefully they can win. Man, if they can win this week too, I think, man, what was that game they have this week? They got some pretty easy team this week. They got
I don't remember.
They got at the Jets. So, you would think that they could win that game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then they got that Steelers game, man, which could – I guess we're going to talk about the Steelers next. But, man,
right now.
That game could be for the for the division, man. So we'll see.
Love it.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Last game of the week and another upset. Pittsburgh loses its 3rd straight after starting 11-0 against the hapless Bengals, 17-27. Good luck in the playoffs, Pitt, if you even make it now. And judging from my social media the past few weeks, I would say the once boisterous Steelers fans have quieted down completely. I can almost hear a pin drop on my timeline.
Yeah.
Big Ben, 170, a touchdown and a pick. Benny Snell played pretty well in James Conner's absence, 84 yards and a touchdown and 3 for 23. Deontay Johnson was the only receiver who did anything, going 8 for 59 and a touchdown. For the Bengals, this was a Giovanni Bernard show, as he accounted for basically the entire offense besides 47 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown for quarterback Ryan Finley. Gio had 25 carries for 83 and a touch, and he also caught a pass for a touchdown. Go Bengals.
Yeah, well, dude, like I'm with you on that one. Like I've been hearing some crickets on my timeline from those Steelers fans, so they're getting a little worried. They're sweating a little bit. So, man, that'll be an all-time collapse, man. If you start 11-0 and then
and miss the playoffs.
Yeah, that's obviously a first. That'll be a first,
please.
I'm sure. Yeah, that'll be wild. But look, I was watching this game, man, and it's probably one of the ugliest starts I've ever seen from Big Ben or just from a team in general. I mean, I think they had 40 yards of offense at halftime, and at one point with like 2 minutes left and a half, I think Big Ben was like, he had like -2 yards passing at one point, and I was like, I mean, this is just unreal. And I mean, he obviously opened it up a little bit in the second half, but still only ended up with, $170 and 1 touchdown. And he's lucky he didn't throw about 4 picks because the Bengals dropped a couple picks. So tough, man. And I just don't know, man, that defense I thought was a little bit better than that. I mean, look, if you're going to get carried by your defense, you can't be giving up 27 points to the Bengals, man. I don't know. It's tough. Ryan Finley, look, this dude had 89 yards. He had 89 yards passing, but he had 47 yards rushing.
I know. I love it. I
don't know. Yeah, like it's crazy.
Everything about it. I love it.
I like it. But what do you think about the Claypool, man? I thought at the end of the game, Claypool probably could have got that on that 4th down. I thought they could have flagged that for PI, but I don't know. I mean, I don't want to. I didn't want to. I didn't.
Everything.
Yeah, they flag everything, so I think that probably should have been a pass interference. So I don't know, but the Bengals probably still would have ended up winning it with that field goal at the end. They might have been able to drive down and get a field goal, but I'll take the loss.
Dude, before we get out of here, I saw someone post that a guy in their league was up by 0.46 of a point. Okay, 0.46. He had Ebron and Juju Smith-Schuster playing. Ebron goes out with 0. Juju Smith-Schuster ends up with -0.5. He was winning by 0.46 and ended up losing by 0.04 because he had 2 guys in and they totaled -0.5 point. Is that insane or what?
That's wild, man. That's always.
I would never play fantasy again. I was
going to say I might have to give it up for a year at least and rethink my Sundays. But
oh gosh,
that's tough, man. I don't know. It's one of them things. Like I had, I don't know. I was up by a couple points in one league, and I had Nick Chubb in there, and I was like, man, I hope he doesn't really like lose 5 yards on the first carry and fumble.
Yeah,
and then he's out for the game because then I'm out. But I was like, man, should I bench him right now and just not even play?
Some people do.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it's tough. You don't want to be that guy, but I was just like, man, I just rolled with it, and he didn't obviously have that big of a game, but I didn't need him to. But man, that was tough. And yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't be playing fantasy next year if something like that happened to me. And Juju, I like the kid, but man, he's got to give up the damn TikTok dances on the field because.
He got smashed. That's what he gets.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, look, he's got more TikTok videos than receiving yards, so that dude needs to put the phone down a little bit and just start playing some football, brother, man.
The Bengals posted a picture of that hit and said, Bengals Von Bell, right? Yeah, Bengals safety Von Bell hits Pittsburgh's famed TikTok dancer. Like what they didn't even use his name. They just called him TikTok dancer.
Like why give a team something? I don't know. I mean, look, just
dumb.
Yeah, just don't do it, dude. Put the phone down.
Before we head out of here, good show. Thanks everybody for listening. Make sure again you check out www.thediaperdust.com. Grab yourself some. Whoever you know with a kid in diapers, they need it. You need it. Trust me. And definitely hit us up on all of the other platforms we got. Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, obviously the Facebook group. Keep throwing them questions out there. We're getting a bunch. each and every week. So, and we're going to post a couple because I got another one. I got one I want to post as well that was brought up to me by one of our listeners that I think is interesting. So we'll post a couple questions this week for y'all as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I was going to make my first starter sit post this week because my work league I talked about, we have a double flex, and I got some guys. I don't know. I got some tough decisions to make. See, I need the bragging rights for this league. It's my work league, so I got to deal with these guys all the time, man. So I don't want to hear no emails about how I got beat by so-and-so. I want to win this week just for the bragging rights. So, yeah, I'm going to post up on that. And like Bobby said, follow us and give us a like or follow on any of those other platforms. We'll post on Facebook. And, yeah, we're going to definitely come at you with the video by Wednesday. And I think we're going to I might create that tonight, man, that poll with Tyreek Hill and the DeAndre Hopkins trade. See if we can get a 50-50 split or if it goes either way.
Stephon Diggs, not Tyreek Hill.
Not Tyreek Hill. DeAndre Hopkins.
Don't need to start rumors out there.
DeAndre Hopkins, yeah. Man, but yeah, good stuff. Another good week, everybody. I hope they have a good holiday, good Christmas. Spend time with your family.
Merry Christmas, absolutely.
Yeah, stay safe. Keep following us. Keep listening. Tell your family members about us, and we'll keep putting out these videos. And give us a follow. And we'll be back next week.
See ya.
All right, man. Take it easy.